I'm not going back to therapy.
But we were making progress.
You spent the whole hour flirting to make the therapist like you.
I wasn't flirting. I'm naturally adorable. If you have a problem with that, take it up with God.
I said I would give therapy a chance, and I did. And now I'm done.
Maybe the real problem is that you're stubborn. You never let things go.
Well, that is your opinion.
Not just mine. Javier agrees with me.
You talk to Javi?
I have a feeling whatever I'm going to say next will be wrong, so bye.
Don't mess with me. I'm 100 months pregnant and raging with hormones. Start talking.
It was completely innocent. I ran into Javier at dinner one night, and then we had coffee a few times after that.
Oh my God!
I was helping, I swear. I begged him to take you back.
Get this through your thick wig. Stay out of my life.
I guess you're right. There's no point going back to therapy.
We are going to therapy. Right now.
Oh, how great to see you. Thank you.
Okay, how awesome is it that we have this woman on stage today? I mean, seriously, talk about accomplished. Like, give it up for her. Give her a proper round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's like when I tell my kid, give me a proper hug, not like a hug, you know what I mean?
Kiss me like you mean it.
Exactly. So on Devious Maids, your character is quite the character. She has many talents, among which using heels as pliers, I believe is the correct.
Sometimes it's the only way you can get out of an
Elevator.
Get those doors open.
What do you love about playing her?
Oh, I love a lot about her. First of all, Mark Cherry, who created Desperate Housewives, is the creator of Devious Maids. And he told me that, he had liked my work very much as Erica Kane on All My Children. And so he wanted to write a part for me that was very different from Erica. He described Genevieve. First of all, he calls her Genevieve. When I read the script.
Instead of Genevieve.
I thought, was it Genevieve? No, it's Genevieve. And I said, Mark, you've just told me so much about this character by calling her Genevieve. And he said she's a cousin of Erica Kane. But Genevieve is much more vulnerable. She is not street smart as Erica Kane was. And she also actually has no street smarts at all. So she will go to the barrio and ask if they know her friend, who is a woman, if they know her because she's Latino. And anyway.
If you watch the show, and I hope you have, Genevieve has the best lines, I think. Like, she really is. She lives in a world entirely of her own creation.
Yes, her own creation in Beverly Hills. This is about Latina maids in Beverly Hills households. And Genevieve is one of the household owners. And what I love about the show, too, is that as funny as it is, and it is so funny, and so it's really clever, you also see that the takeaway is that nobody is defined by the size of their bank account. Not the maids, and certainly not the Beverly Hills household owners.
And it actually, I think, really, in a very lighthearted way, touches on class issues and race and, and
stereotyping
types,
and all
exactly.
of that.
And how would you define your relationship with your housekeeper? Because it's very odd. I think in a good way, odd.
Yes, and I would tell you that what the crew says is that it's very Lucy Ethel. There's definitely a push-pull going on there, and you do have to remind yourself sometimes who is the household owner and who works for who. Because often it's Zoila, who is the woman who has worked with Genevieve. Really, Genevieve, I think, leans more on Zoila than Zoila leans on Genevieve. But each of them have their issues, their foibles, their boyfriends who come and go. But they are each other's constant. Except this season, it gets shaken up a little bit.
Because they go to couples counseling.
We go to couples counseling, and let's just say it doesn't necessarily work.
Well, and season 4 premieres this spring, but season 3 ended with a really kind of heartfelt cliffhanger for your for your relationship.
Yes, Zoila was highly pregnant at the end of last season. And at the very end of the show, the doctor came to Genevieve, who tried to tip the orderlies, who tried to just pay her way through the hospital. But she had to make a serious decision between saving Zoila's life and the unborn baby. And Zoila was just about to go. She was in labor. They were stuck in an elevator. And Zoila said to Genevieve, "You're going to have to deliver this baby." At which point Genevieve said, "No way am I delivering the baby," took off her high heels with the most fabulous, sparkly, jeweled high heels, opened up the elevator door, and climbed out and saved Zoila. But
And
then
said she's been dieting her whole life for this.
Yes, she had a very triumphant moment at the end. "I have been dieting my whole life for this moment," to squeeze out of that little crack in the elevator. But anyway, then the doctor came and said that Genevieve had to decide between Zoila's life and the unborn baby's life. And we pick up season 4 with what that decision was and how that decision was made and the effect it had.
And I guess you can't say, obviously.
I wish I could say, but I
then
can't.
you'd have
And
to
I
tell
don't want to
us
be a
all.
spoiler because it's much more fun to watch.
And you'd have to beat us all with your heels, and we don't want that.
Right.
That's a given. But what can you say? I mean, I know you guys are shooting season 4 right now, and what can you say about, I guess, the focus of the show in season 4?
Well, the show always peels the onion, and we always get to know more and more. The other cliffhanger, for example, was the blowing up of Adrian and Evelyn's house, and so a lot of people want to know if Adrian survives. Adrian, on paper, is a very unsympathetic, sleazy kind of a character, but in the hands of Tom, I mean, you love this guy. And you root for him, and you want him to live, and so that's part of what we'll be focused on at the beginning too. There is a mystery. There's always humor. There's always humanity, and there's always a mystery. And this mystery this year is so incredibly woven in and very topical. Genevieve is very lonely. She's between husbands. She's been married a lot of times. That's something else she had in common with Erica Kane. And but she's always looking, and so she's lonely, and she's looking at an ex-husband. She's looking at a new friend, and missing Zoila. And we'll see where it goes.
Wow.
We just began shooting, so I kind of can't give. But there are some shocking surprises. Let's put it that way.
Now, for you, Miss Susan Lucci, I assume that at this point in your career, you can do whatever you want. You don't need to work. You can work. You can. The world is your bonbon, to use Genevieve speak. But
Nice of you to say such a
how do
thing.
you choose what you want to do?
I really, even as an audience member, I really prefer scripted shows. And oh my goodness, there are so many options now. There's just so much good TV. I feel like we're in another golden age of TV.
That's
with
what everyone
so-
keeps saying. This
Yeah,
year.
with so much that's on. So I feel very, very grateful to be on such a well-written show and a show with so many possibilities. I'm sorry, what?
But how do you choose what you
Oh,
what
how
you
do I
wanna
choose?
do?
Well,
yeah.
that's what got me to that
Yeah.
part of the conversation. Because for me, it's what's on the page. Then you can bring that, what's on the page is on the stage. And certainly you can try your best to infuse material and so on. But what a joy to go to work every day with material that is so terrific that each of us individually reading the scripts as they come through, either electronically or in hard copy, are laughing by ourselves in our room, or touched all by ourselves, and then we come together. The show is good already around the table for the table read. So it's the quality of the writing. I also this year have had the amazing opportunity to work with David O. Russell.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Speaking of joy.
Yes, speaking of joy, and what a joy. I went into the project as a great fan of David O. Russell from Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle, and I came away from the experience of working with him on Joy an even bigger fan. He came to New York and asked to meet me. We met down at the Greenwich Hotel and met for quite some time. And he's just amazing, creative, and asked me then to come with him, and he took me in the hotel, and he made a call and then took me in the hotel, and Jennifer Lawrence answered the door. And I met with her. He wanted us to meet. We were going to work together. And I just can't say enough for her as well. She was so accessible and warm, and she could be sitting here talking to us now. She's just lovely. And the working experience, you know, the opportunity to work with Jennifer, who I think is one of the great actresses of her generation, and I can't wait to see what she does always coming up. To work with David O. Russell, great director, this is another criteria. I mean, my goodness, if you can. And I feel so happy to have that opportunity. And to work with Robert De Niro, who also, yeah, exactly. He also, I mean, everyone was just so warm and so good at what they do. It was just a great experience. My part is a small part, but David O. Russell often deals in his projects with the effect of pop culture on our lives, and he does it seamlessly and like silk, and I don't see it done anywhere else the way he does it, and I was just really privileged to have a small part, big experience, to work with him and to work in that film.
He does mostly a really varied ensemble casts, so even a small part still is kind of critical to the end result.
Yes, and that's how it was said to me, and yes, I think that's true when I see the end product, yeah.
What surprised you the most about Jennifer?
About Jennifer? I didn't know what to expect. I don't know, somehow her work is so good. I did not expect diva, and I didn't see diva. I saw a real person, rooted, head on her shoulders, very talented, very easy with her talent, and lovely, warm, welcoming, great, easy to talk to.
You've had quite a year, lady.
I had a big year.
I can't lie. All right, can we get totally superficial right now?
Sure.
What is your secret to looking so hot?
Wow, thank you.
No, I'm serious.
Well, thank you. Yeah, actually, I do work out. I work out just about every day. I always say I'm going to take a day off, but then I miss it, so I'll do something. But it's all Pilates-centric. And most importantly for myself, I work out on the Pilates Pro Chair. I'm actually going to be debuting it on QVC this Saturday in the 10 o'clock hour, between 10 and 11, I think around 10:30. And I'm really excited because it has been fan-driven, because people have asked me, what do you do, what do you do? And I had Malibu Pilates, that chair, on HSN for several years, and then wasn't going to be doing that anymore. I had a year non-compete. But I continue to use this chair, even though I wasn't selling it. I mean, I really love it. I really believe in it. If anyone is familiar with Pilates, it's really dancer strength training. It's all about the core and the powerhouse. You can sculpt on the Malibu Pilates chair, and now on the Pro chair, which is even improved because we've had time to look at where can we make it better. You can sculpt long, lean, toned, flexible, strong, sexy dancer muscles. At the same time, you get a cardio blast. And when you get that cardio blast at the same time, you burn fat faster, and so you can get to your goals a lot faster. You can get that body that you want to. My husband and I just came back. We were down in St. Bart's. I had not been in St. Bart's just but one time 5 years ago. I tend to be kind of shy. I don't whip on a bikini. But I knew I was going to St. Bart's, and everybody's French, and so I worked out extra hard, and it was this Pilates Pro chair that got me in shape, got my courage up, my confidence up, that I could at least put a bikini on and walk on that beach. And of course, it's only after I've been in the water swimming, my husband will say, honey, look over here, and he'll have, my phone or his phone and take a picture. So anyway, I did it, and I'm glad I faced my fears.
I love that Erica Kane rocked a bikini. You go. But, and in terms of, first of all, I can't get over the fact that you're addicted to working out. That's like, But what is your daily routine like? I mean, do you eat super healthy?
I eat super healthy. But I mean, I don't always eat super healthy. Everybody's got a downfall. I don't have a big sweet tooth, but I do love pasta. I could eat, spaghetti and meatballs. Still comes out of my ears. Bowl of mashed potatoes in the corner. I could be really happy. So, we all have our struggles. And I don't believe in complete deprivation, but, that great balancing act. I eat organic as much as I can. Basically, I eat the Mediterranean diet, which is fresh fish and pasta. Not pasta, only once in a while. Green things like kale salad, which my husband is never going to eat, but I do, and
I'm with your husband.
green vegetables. I think that restaurants make it much easier, and places now that sell so much produce that is organic and fresh. And my grandmother lived with us until she died when I was 11, and she was a great cook. She was my only American grandparent, and she was of Alsatian background, which is that French-German mix, and like Jean George. So she was not a professional, but she cooked and baked both every single day.
And Alsatian food is not light.
No, it is not light. I was a fat and happy little girl, but it was all fresh. It was all fresh farm to table, so she was ahead of her time there.
And in terms of your career, how driven are you these days? How ambitious are you?
I think it's just part of who I am. A, I love to do what I do. B, I feel really happy when I'm doing what I love to do and grateful that I get to do it. But yeah, it's funny you ask that, because I sometimes, step back and it's just who I am. And yes, I am somebody who's driven. I keep waiting for the day where that will go away. But on the other hand, I guess I'm driven to do what I love to do. That's not so crazy.
When did you first discover that this is what you loved?
It's how I played. And I think that probably a lot of people in the arts, play that way. I think that the painters and the people who draw, the graphic artists probably did that a lot. I'm guessing a lot of it. Well, just like in Joy Mangano, whose real life story this is based on. She made things, and she wanted to make things that were useful. That was her great talent, and that is a great talent and a rare one. I made up stories and acted out all the parts. I was supposed to go to bed. I didn't want to go to bed, so I'd sneak up at night with my pillow and lay in the hallway, and the TV in my parents' room was on the wall, so if I laid in the hallway, I could watch. I saw a lot of stuff I probably wasn't supposed to see, but it really fueled my imagination, and then I would make up stories, act out all the parts, get the kids in the neighborhood to act out the other parts with me. My mother was very nice. She'd let me play in her top drawer and take out scarves, and they could be anything we wanted them to be. They would be our costumes. My mother also wore a chignon. She used to pull her hair back, and they used to have these sparkly things on springs, and it would shape your chignon, and she had those, but I would make them crowns.
Of course.
Right? Little girl, why wouldn't you? So it was just natural to me, and I would put on Broadway cast albums and sing and dance all over the house. I also briefly wanted to be a trapeze artist. And so for a while, for a while I was combining singing with flying from pieces of furniture to pieces of furniture.
Your parents must have loved that. That's not stressful at all.
No, my mother was nice. She let me do it.
Now, you're actually filling me with fear, because my 5-year-old loves nothing more than dressing up in superhero. I'm like, please don't be an actor. Please, please don't.
I know.
It's the hardest job. I interview actors. It's so hard.
Oh.
What's been, for you, the most gratifying part of doing this for so long?
This is a joy. It's a joy. It really is truly what I love to do. When I go on the set, and we shoot Devious Maids in Atlanta, and when I walk on set with the material that makes me laugh, makes me cry, I love it. Working with actors, there is not a bad apple in the bunch, and it's the playing of the scenes. That's the most gratifying to me, the actual getting to do what I love to do.
Okay, and I have to ask you, you're super recognizable. I mean, I think everyone knows who Susan Lucci is. Are you ever able to just go incognito?
Yeah, I am, but gosh, there have been times I would have my hair in a baseball hat in the car my husband's driving. We'll be on the Long Island Expressway, and people will go by and say, "Hi, Erica." And, I think, how did they know that?
How do they
How
know?
did they know that? But I think it's because, as Erica, we were in their living rooms 5 days a week. People would come, if I'm in a restaurant or a store and they didn't necessarily see me, they'll say, "I thought that was you. I heard your voice." When you're in somebody's home 5 days a week, they know you from here, this angle, They can just pick you out. But it's very gratifying, it really is. You can't be an actor alone in your room. Maybe where you start as a child, but by the nature of it, the audience
You
is
have to have an audience or you
participating
don't have a
too.
job.
And they're participating.
Well,
feel them.
hopefully, I mean, that's probably different with Genevieve because her voice is very different from Erica's. Like, she's got that little lilt, and, like, her voice seems a lot lighter. Does that make sense?
It does. It's funny because I'm not aware of those things as much as maybe you as a viewer would be.
Well, it's because she speaks like everything is just a joke,
Yes, in her life, in her bubble.
In her bubble, it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a great segue for our audience. So let's hear it, members of the audience.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
Hi, great.
I'm like
how are
such
you?
a huge fan. I'm sorry, I'm like fangirling right now. Like, I loved All My Children.
Oh, thank
man.
you.
Like, I would tape it and like watch it when I came home from school.
Thank you.
But I just want to know, I'm trying to act and trying to get into the industry, so do you have any advice since you're so well established?
I would say study with the best people you possibly can. I can tell you that I use what I was taught every day. And I'm so grateful for that I did. So that's really what I would say. The other thing, when you're in an acting class and you're studying with somebody who's really a good teacher, the other people in the class too who you're going to work with, you're always learning. And then again, the practicality, you keep your eyes and your ears open and you know what's auditioning in town and all of that. Someone said something to me too when I very first came to New York, a man from CBS. He said to me, if you want to make it in New York, give yourself at least 1 year in New York. Don't go on the national tour. A lot of people go out of town and they stay out of town and they can't get back. That was his advice to me. It worked for me. I will pass that along, see what you think.
Hello, thanks for being here. Just want to mention you look great. And,
Thank you.
And my question is, what's the best advice that was given to you that stuck with you throughout your whole career?
Well, I think the advice I'm giving is largely what was given to me too, to study with the best people. And also, if you're in it for the long run, play through. Think it through. Some jobs pay the rent, but think about before you take. Some of those jobs might haunt you. You might not be so proud of later on. So if you're in it for the long run, study, keep your equipment in good shape, and keep on learning. I'd say keep on growing and learning. Keep it fresh. Okay.
Hello, Susan.
Hi.
Good to have you here. What did you miss about All My Children that you had? What was the major reason why you miss it? Would you come back to soap opera acting?
Oh.
What are the major reasons why you miss it so much?
Thank you. When All My Children was taken off the air, we really all were blindsided. We didn't expect it. And it was like the loss, of a loved one. It was like a mourning process. You can't believe it, and then you're very sad, you're very angry. And then there's a reality of every day not playing the part that I loved, but missing the people very much. There was a lot of sadness involved. I looked around at that crew who I worked with every day, and you're really in the trenches together. Those days were 12, 14, 16 hours a day, and sometimes it would be 11 o'clock at night, and they'd throw me in a pit, and there'd be dirt, and then they'd say, cut, they need another rock, and, one of the crew would go, she'd say, I know where there's a big boulder, and she'd bring in a big boulder. It'd be 11 o'clock at night, but it was the right boulder. We'd do the scene again. I mean, experiences like that over the course of time, really, you're very close to them. And I knew a lot of the crew in particular were going to be out of health care, health insurance. You know, it was like a family. So you know, you lose a family. I will say that I never expected to find such an experience again. It's rare, and I will say, I mean, knock on something, how lucky I feel.
Devious Maids.
Devious Maids. It's a love fest down there in Atlanta. So I feel very lucky to have found that again. And you know what else helped a lot with the loss? Now that I am out in daylight sometimes, if I'm in airports or wherever, people stop me and tell me how much they love Erica and what an influence she had on their lives. Maybe they were at a crossroads and they thought, well, should I go to law school? Should I continue in school? Should I don't know, try this. Oh, I'm not good enough to try this. They think, what would Erica do? What would Erica say? And it gave them some motivation. And those things are very gratifying. Also, people who came to this country who didn't speak English. They would watch all my children, and I think with Erica sometimes they tell me, you didn't have to know exactly what she was saying, but you knew what she was saying, you know, and how she was feeling. So that's very gratifying.
And we have time for one final question, please, from the back.
Hi, Susan. I'm a huge fan of Devious Maids. Each season just keeps getting better and better, and I'm wondering how season 4 can top itself. Can we expect a new big bad to come to Beverly Hills?
What a great question. And it's funny because we, you know, who are so involved in it, and we adored last season. We thought season 3 was fantastic, and we're shooting season 4 now. We're all marveling. We're saying, how could it be even better? I mean, I'm not just saying that so you watch. I mean, it's honestly what we're saying to each other. So you be the judge, but we think season 4 is even that much better.
And Devious Maids is back this spring. On Lifetime. Do we
On
have a
Lifetime.
specific date yet? I didn't think we
We
do.
don't have the
Yeah.
exact date, but it's always been in June. We're hoping, you know, it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
June, Monday nights at 9. And we
On Lifetime.
love that time slot. That's what it's on in Europe, too. In Europe, we're on 9 o'clock on Monday nights, as we are here. But in Europe, that was the Desperate Housewives time slot. And it works. It works.
Hey, if it works, man, you know? Thank you so much, Susan, and thank you to our great audience.
Pleasure. Thank you.